Welcome to the Compliance Officer's Playbook podcast. Buckle up, everybody, because today we're heading into the future of finance.
Ooh, yeah.
From like TradFi,
Right?
like we always talk about,
Yeah.
DeFi.
DeFi.
We're going deep today.
Deep dive.
And to help us navigate this crazy world, we've got
Well, we have the perfect guide.
we have an awesome guide, Krzysztof Gogol.
Yeah.
He's a PhD candidate at the University of Zurich,
Right?
and he's also the co-founder of DeFi AM.
Mm-hmm.
He was recently at Ethereum Zurich.
He was dropping knowledge bombs left and right.
Knowledge bombs, yeah.
So we're here to break down
Break it down.
what he had to say for you.
Well, one of the biggest things that he talked about that I thought was super interesting was tokenization.
Okay.
And he predicts that this market,
Tokenization, what is that?
he thinks it's going to reach $15 trillion
$15 trillion.
by 2030.
That's bigger than some economies.
It's huge, right?
What are we even talking about when we say tokenization? So basically, it's taking a real-world asset, like a stock or a bond or even real estate, and turning it into a digital token on a blockchain.
Okay.
So it's basically digitizing ownership.
Oh, wow.
And you can trade it instantly.
Oh, that's crazy.
And he really sees tokenized bonds as a major driver of this growth.
So instead of having like a paper certificate for my bond, I'd have a digital token
Exactly.
that's representing it.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And where does DeFi fit into all of this?
So DeFi is kind of like the turbocharger for tokenization
Okay.
because it unlocks all of these possibilities because now these tokenized assets can
Right.
be plugged into this whole system of
Right.
smart contracts and decentralized platforms.
So you're saying it's all connected.
Yeah, it's all connected.
But for our listeners that are like
Right.
still trying to understand this,
Yeah.
can we just break it down?
Yeah.
What are the core differences between TradFi and DeFi?
Okay, so think of TradFi as the old guard,
Okay.
like banks,
Yeah.
brokers, lots of regulation.
And the regulation.
It's reliable,
Yeah.
but it can be really slow
Right. And expensive.
and expensive. Yeah, especially for things like international transfers.
It's the system we all know.
Yep.
And sometimes love.
Right.
But DeFi is kind of like throwing the rule book out the window.
Yeah. It's all about cutting out the middleman.
Like no more intermediaries.
No more intermediaries.
Right.
And using blockchain technology to make transactions faster.
And cheaper.
And cheaper, exactly.
Okay, but cutting out the middleman,
Right.
doesn't that create new risks?
Well, yeah, that's the million-dollar question, right?
Yeah.
But DeFi relies on the transparency
Okay.
and the immutability of the blockchain
Right.
to build trust and security.
Okay.
Every transaction is recorded.
So you can see everything.
You can see everything, and it can be audited.
Okay.
So it makes it much harder to hide all that illicit activity.
So instead of the institutions policing the system,
Right.
DeFi is kind of like
It's building it into the technology itself.
baking it in.
Exactly.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So I can see how that would be appealing,
Right.
especially in a compliance.
In compliance.
Context.
For sure.
But DeFi, it seems so big.
It is a huge ecosystem.
So complex.
Yeah.
Can you give us some real world examples?
Absolutely. So one really cool example that Gogol highlighted
Okay.
was Project Guardian.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Have you?
Yeah.
So it's a collaboration between institutions like the BIS
Okay.
and the MAS,
Got it.
and they're exploring using DeFi to totally revolutionize the repo market.
Wow. And that's a big market, right?
It's a $3 trillion daily market
3 trillion.
every day.
That's crazy.
So
What's so groundbreaking about applying DeFi to that?
traditionally, repo transactions involve a lot of manual processes, a lot of intermediaries,
Yeah.
and that makes it slow and costly.
Makes this.
So Project Guardian is experimenting with using smart contracts to streamline these transactions.
Okay.
So automating things like risk management,
Okay.
interest rates,
Got it.
collateral management.
So it's like replacing all of that paper.
Yeah, all the paper contracts
And phone calls.
and phone
How do you
calls
know?
with self-executing code on a blockchain.
That could be a game changer.
It's a huge game changer in terms of efficiency and cost savings.
Wow.
And it's just one example
Right.
of how DeFi is starting to bridge that gap between traditional finance
Yeah.
and this new decentralized world.
Wow. Amazing.
It's really fascinating stuff.
It's early days.
Yeah, it's like the Wild West out there.
It is.
It's exciting, but also kind of scary from a compliance perspective.
I understand that.
Gogol also talked about a future with tokenized funds and deposits.
Yeah.
What would that look like for the average investor?
So imagine a world where you could invest in a diversified portfolio of assets
Right.
with a few clicks on your phone.
And you're paying just a tiny fraction of the fees that you would with traditional funds.
So it's like democratizing
Exactly.
access to these like really sophisticated
Yeah,
investment strategies.
exactly. It's making it available to people who might not have the money
Right.
to work with a financial advisor.
Right.
And tokenized deposits could revolutionize how we bank.
Okay. How?
Imagine earning interest on your deposits in real time
Oh, no.
with complete transparency into how your money is being used.
That's amazing.
Right.
But with all these benefits,
Yeah.
are there any downsides?
Well, there's always downsides, right?
Yeah. What keeps you up at night when you think about this stuff?
Honestly, it's the potential for systemic risk
Okay.
because DeFi is so interconnected.
Right.
A problem in one protocol could cascade through the whole system.
So like a domino effect?
Yeah, like a financial contagion.
Oh, wow. So one protocol fails and it just like...
And it triggers this chain reaction that
Right.
could destabilize the whole DeFi ecosystem.
That's a scary thought.
It is. So that's why robust risk management frameworks are so crucial.
Okay.
We need to make sure that these protocols are resilient
Right.
and they can withstand shocks without putting the whole system down.
Right. Because it's all connected.
It's all connected.
Okay. Gogol also talked about AI in DeFi.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds like sci-fi to me.
It does, but it's not that far-fetched.
Yeah.
It's already happening.
Wow.
AI is being used to optimize trading strategies,
Okay.
manage risk, and even detect fraud in DeFi.
Okay.
Imagine a system,
Like an AI-powered system.
yeah, that can analyze millions of transactions in real time
Wow.
and identify suspicious activity before it even happens.
That sounds like a compliance officer's dream.
It does.
But what about the ethics of it?
Right.
Like, could it be biased?
Yeah, those are valid concerns.
Yeah.
And that's something the DeFi community really needs to address proactively.
Okay.
We need to make sure that this technology is developed and deployed responsibly.
With the safeguards.
With safeguards in place.
So it seems like this whole world requires a new set of skills and knowledge.
It does.
What advice would you give to compliance officers?
The most important thing is to embrace a mindset of continuous learning.
So always be learning.
Always be learning because DeFi is evolving so quickly.
Yeah, it's changing every day.
Every day, so you have to stay up to date.
It's like drinking from a fire hose
It is.
of information.
It is.
Are there any particular areas of DeFi that compliance officers should be focusing on right now?
One area that's super relevant is AML
Okay,
and KYC compliance.
got it.
Regulators are really focused on mitigating the risks
Of illicit activity.
of illicit activity in DeFi.
Right, because it's all like anonymous and stuff.
Right, exactly.
So are there any tools or resources that can help us stay ahead of the curve?
Absolutely. There are tons of organizations
Okay.
and communities dedicated to DeFi compliance.
Love it.
They offer training programs, industry best practices, and even software tools to help navigate this complex landscape.
That's great.
Yeah,
So it seems like the pace of innovation can be a bit overwhelming.
it can be. It can be a lot.
What do you say to people that feel like they're drowning?
You don't have to become a blockchain expert overnight.
Oh,
Just start with the fundamentals,
okay.
understand the key concepts,
Yeah.
and figure out what's most relevant to you
In your role.
in your specific role.
Great advice.
Right, try.
So we've talked about the challenges,
Right.
but let's not forget about the opportunities.
Absolutely.
What are some of the potential benefits of DeFi for the industry?
DeFi has the potential to make financial services more efficient,
Okay.
more accessible,
Right.
and more transparent.
I like that.
It could lead to greater innovation and competition,
Okay.
which means better products and services for everybody.
So it's a win-win.
Potentially.
Yeah, but only if we get the regulatory framework, right?
Exactly. Finding that balance
All right.
between fostering innovation and mitigating risk.
That's the sweet spot.
That's the sweet spot.
It sounds like collaboration is key.
Collaboration is huge.
So we need everyone working together.
We need regulators, industry players, and the DeFi community.
Everyone
Oh.
working together.
This has been a really interesting conversation.
It has.
They've covered a lot,
Wait.
from the technical stuff
Yeah.
to the big societal impact.
The big picture stuff.
So as we wrap up,
Okay.
I want to leave our listeners with a final question to ponder.
Okay. Fire away.
So we talked about the potential benefits for financial inclusion,
Right.
but what about the challenges of actually bringing financial services
Oh, yeah.
to underserved populations?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah.
So access to technology is a big one.
Okay.
Financial literacy.
Right.
And even cultural barriers can all play a role.
So it's a complex issue.
It is a complex issue.
We have to address these challenges head
You
on
do.
if we want DeFi to really live up to its promise.
To really make a difference, yeah.
Okay, so yeah.
Welcome back to the Compliance Officer's Playbook podcast. For this final part of our deep dive,
Yeah.
we're going beyond just like the techie stuff of DeFi
Right.
to look at the potential impact on society.
Yeah, it's more than just moving financial services to a new platform.
Okay.
It could actually like reshape power structures
Okay.
and create a more equitable world.
That's a bold claim.
It is.
I'm ready to dive in.
Okay.
I have to admit, I'm having trouble like connecting DeFi
Right. Yeah.
and social change.
I get that.
Can you give me like a concrete example?
Sure. So think about access to credit.
Okay.
In the traditional system, your creditworthiness
Mm-hmm.
is determined by things that are out of your control,
Like what?
like your zip code
Oh, wow.
or your family history.
Okay.
And this can like perpetuate these cycles of poverty and inequality.
So the system is biased
Yeah, it's inherently biased
against certain groups.
against certain groups,
Okay.
making it harder for them to like build wealth or start a business.
I see where you're going with this.
Yeah, so with DeFi,
Okay.
creditworthiness could be based on like your actual financial behavior
Okay.
on your on-chain activity.
Okay. Instead of those like discriminatory factors,
Exactly.
so instead of traditional credit scores,
Right.
DeFi could use the blockchain
Yeah.
to create a system that's more objective,
Oh, transparent.
more fair.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really interesting.
It is. And this is just one example.
Okay.
DeFi could also empower marginalized communities
Wow.
by giving them more control over their own money.
So it's not just access, it's like agency.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's like real financial inclusion.
Yeah, real financial inclusion.
But we need to be realistic.
We do.
There could be pitfalls.
There are always pitfalls.
What's the biggest one for you?
I think one of the biggest concerns is that DeFi could actually make wealth disparities worse
Oh, wow.
instead of better.
So even though it aims to be decentralized,
Right.
it could end up concentrating wealth.
Yeah, in the hands of those who already have it.
How would that happen?
So early adopters
Right.
tend to be more tech savvy.
Okay.
They have a higher risk tolerance.
Right.
They could end up reaping the biggest rewards.
While everyone else gets left behind.
Exactly.
So like any new tech,
Yeah,
the early birds get the worm.
pretty much.
Is there anything we could do to mitigate that?
Yeah, I think education is key.
Okay.
We need to demystify DeFi.
Make it easier to understand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Make it accessible to more people.
Okay.
And we need to encourage development of applications
Okay.
that are specifically designed to meet the needs of underserved communities.
So it's a multi-pronged approach.
It is.
Education,
Right.
targeted development,
Yeah,
and bridging the digital divide.
absolutely.
This has been such a thought-provoking conversation.
It really has been.
We've covered a ton of ground.
We have.
From the technical stuff
Yeah.
to the big picture societal stuff.
The really big picture stuff.
Yeah. So as we wrap up, I
Okay.
want to leave our listeners with a final question.
Okay, shoot.
We've talked about how DeFi can transform our financial systems
Right.
and create a more just society. So what role do we play in this as compliance officers?
Ooh, that's the big question, isn't it?
It is.
We need to be more than just rule enforcers. We need to be proactive, engaged, forward-thinking.
Got it.
We need to help shape the regulations in a way that promotes innovation,
Right.
but also protects consumers.
And promotes financial
It
inclusion.
promotes financial inclusion, exactly.
It's all about balance.
It is. It's about finding that balance.
That's a powerful message to end on.
It's a journey we're all in together.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us today on the Compliance Officer's Playbook podcast.
My pleasure.
It's been an awesome deep dive into DeFi
It has.
and all its implications for the future of finance.
The future is DeFi.
I hope you found this deep dive as insightful as we have.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe
Yeah.
to stay up to date on all the latest compliance trends and insights.
You won't regret it.
And for those of you that love the show and want more,
Or
consider becoming a paid subscriber today.
support the show.
For just $4.99,
That's it.
you'll unlock access to premium episodes
Oh, yeah.
filled with even more insights and stories
Yes, value.
you won't find anywhere else.
Nope.
The link is in the show notes.
Check it out.
Thanks for listening.
See ya.